We just finished watching episode 7, Penguin's Umbrella, and what have we learned? Oh my God, we learned it was the best episode ever. Jim Gordon can take 2 shots, take a 2-hour nap, and then he's out saving the city? Maybe he has a slight headache, a little loss of appetite, but that's about it. We learned that Montoya and Alan can actually swallow their pride and admit when they were wrong and save Gordon's life. It was touching. It was touching. And then, let's see, what happened else? In the end, something about the Penguin. Oh my God! Twist! Who wrote this? M. Night Shyamalan? I'm Chad Perkins, and this is the Gotham After Show. Come on.
You know it.
Welcome to the Gotham After Show, the show that films nearly 24 hours after the episode of Gotham to give you guys plenty of time to send us your questions, comments, get in on the conversation. My name is Chad Perkins, and to my right, please welcome a panel of Gotham and Batman aficionados and experts, starting with David Cottingham, host of In the Comics podcast, which you can listen to at inthecomics.com. That's comics with an X, because it's in the mix of all things comics. How you doing, Dave?
Very good. How are you doing, Chad?
I am excellent. Thank you for asking.
Good job.
And filling in for Corey Cooley, he is a comic book and toy aficionado and expert, also a frequent contributor to the Pod Gravy podcast. Please welcome Charles Thompson.
Thank you.
Charles.
Yeah.
How are we doing?
Doing well. What's you, man?
I'm still great.
I was wondering about the actual show part, though, because of what we're going to be talking about. I'm still kind of stunned from last night, so I'm looking forward to talking about this.
Well, what we always like to do is start out with some quick initial reactions, and since you're our guest, we'll start with you, Charles.
Well, to me, it was the best comic book show that I've seen in a long time because there's so many twists happening throughout that episode, and that flashback scene, just, I mean, the shot coming up over the hill, the umbrella, and then the flashback, that was priceless. Mm-hmm. Because everyone on that show looks at Penguin like he's a bumbling fool that should be dead, and he's been the puppet master the entire time. And to me, being able to pull those marionette strings so easily by getting Falcone, Maroni...
Baloney, sorry. I thought we were rhyming.
But Fish, all of those characters. And then including... being able to pull that off with James, I mean, that's just being able to do that the way he's done it. It's so early in the season. What's left for them to give me? It's something almost a lot of shows would give you as a season finale.
Sure.
And this is just 5 or 6 episodes in.
Seven.
So
What about you?
It's flying by.
What about you, Dave?
No, that's true. It did feel like a mid-season finale because a lot of these shows are doing that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Charles, right. I feel like we were going to get to this point with Penguin much later, but I love what they're doing. I think Arrow kind of set the precedent. This is how Arrow kind of is with their excitement per episode. Everything feels like it's the season finale, and I'm glad we got this because, there wasn't there were good episodes, these last few episodes, but this one was by far the best one that we've gotten from Gotham.
What I think is best pre-credit sequence ever. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you just see what happens before the Gotham logo comes up, it's impressive. But let's take it from the beginning with Harvey punching out Gordon and then Gordon completely taking him down. What did you guys think about the whole Gordon-Bullock relationship? Because it's come a long way to where they're joking around, they're palling around, and now it's like, oh, the honeymoon really is over. I know I've said that before, but like now it's like, wow. And then of course we see later that completely turns around. But what was your all's initial thoughts between the two?
It's a little easy for me because I'm really big in the comic books, and again, I keep harping at there's a really good detective arc, in Detective Comics with Bullock. And I think this is why we got his backstory in the last episode. because you know he has that tendency of being a good cop. He wanted to be a good cop. So it's not surprising that he's backing Gordon now, even even in the face of his life or his death. So, I mean, at first, it was a little surprising to see him think about killing him and taking him, and so to save him. But in the end, I love how he came around. That was awesome.
Charles, what do you think about the size of Gordon's cojones by getting these blank arrest warrants or help me out here.
The pre-signed judge's warrants.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. And taking the mayor and Falcone in. Do you think this was just him signing his own death warrant? What were you thinking? What was going through your mind?
Well, the good thing about Gotham is that with many of the characters, we know because of the canon that's established that they're not going to die.
Right.
At least we know that Jim's not going anywhere. But it does lend some issues with other characters that are kind of like extraneous to him who could be taken out. So when he did that, it immediately set everything in motion, which was fantastic. Because, with the mayor alone, now that dynamic between him and the mayor's office, because before it was like, oh, you're the hero, you helped save these kids a few episodes back. Now he knows how much of a sniveling, spineless creep this guy really is, and now he has unabated proof that it's happened, because he's tied in with Falcone now. So for him, anytime that anything comes up from here on out, everything will be questioned about the mayor. So that dynamic alone really sets a lot of things in motion for down the road, because he may be able to hold this over the mayor now and get some protection. Because he's got protection from Falcone, he can get protection from the mayor now and start kind of doing the things that he wants to do potentially to improve the department, because the mayor wants to be mayor. He wants that power, and he's not going to do anything to give that up. And if he has to give in to some things with Jim Gordon, that may come about.
Dave, what do you think about Gordon's status as far as a detective in the GCPD when he just came to work and everyone's like, what the hell is he doing here? I mean, is this the start of his legend? Is he now legendary?
I don't think he's legendary yet. But I obviously, no one else is, everyone else is corrupt.
Or scared.
Or scared out of their mind, right? And that's a good point, because I think it is probably the majority of them are scared. Like what the captain said, I have a family. I'm worried about my family. Even though I may want to do the good thing, I can't.
Yeah.
This is probably, hopefully, what's going to be the start of changing the culture of GCPD, because that's ultimately what's got to happen. Is there's got to be cops that are able to stand up against the criminals in order to, just start the changeover, the corruption. But obviously, he can't go that far, because he can't completely clean it up without Batman being there.
Who was wanting a single cop to stand up and say, "I'm Jim Gordon," and then another one stands up, "No, I'm Jim Gordon."
Well, I'll tell you this: I'm so happy they did that scene, because the one thing that I think all of us, we've talked about it outside of this show, of course, many times, about that dynamic between Bullock and Gordon, and about how this abrasive connection between the two was there, and now the only person in that entire department that stood up to help Jim was Bullock. And now he knows that he's got his back. He's gone the extra mile. He's gone to Falcone's home to help serve a warrant. And to do that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt to Gordon that Bullock's got his back. And to me, that really makes their partnership so much more valid. But on top of it, it tells the other cops that he took a guy that we knew was taking money and was corrupt and everything, and he's turned him good. Or at least somewhat good. And somebody's going to follow suit. And I don't know if it's going to be the captain, but someone's going to come along and start coming around.
Yeah, because the captain at least didn't run out
like
everyone else, and he said, "Get out of here, get out of here." At least he kind of stood there.
And it is, I mean, it's shocking as a viewer. Like, it's shocking because that really illustrates really just how corrupt Gotham is. I mean,
There's 50
not a
cops
single
here.
cop.
Try something.
No.
And he says, leave.
Yeah.
Please?
And he says,
At least
please.
he's polite.
Well,
But,
yeah.
But the problem, not the problem, but the thing about it is what's confusing a little bit is when Falcone says, you can't have corruption without law and order. I mean, where's the law and order?
Well, at least maybe a facade of law and order,
I
do you
guess,
think?
but if they're all controlled or fearful of the crime bosses, then basically the crime is really running everything.
Well, and to that point, though, when he's talking about that, I think he's going about the lines of, you've got the truly terrible killers, rapists, everything in Gotham that they have to police. But as long as the criminals, the ones that aren't connected to the crime syndicates, those are the guys that they're arresting, then everything else in the peripheral is okay. Because
So,
there's a veil of security, at least to the citizens of Gotham, and the corrupt in the underworld that's there. That's kind of that. We'll let that skirt by because we're all getting a little something under the table.
Right. So if it's organized crime, it's all good. But if it's unorganized
Yeah.
crime, you got to take that down.
But that's that veil of security because if you didn't have that happening, the citizens of Gotham would turn on the entire city then, and you'd have riots in the street.
Right. It's similar to that couple that was kidnapping the kids, right? I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Right.
You go after those.
Or the doll maker.
Right.
That's who was behind it, I guess.
And you know
doll
what?
maker.
It brings up a good point. I love the fact that this isn't a Freak of the Week show.
And it kind of had that taste in the
It
beginning.
did. It did.
It
at
did.
first.
But they had to
'Cause
get a
you
few
had-
characters
Yeah,
out.
because you had the Balloon Man.
Right.
You had the doll maker apparently mentioned. I mean, you have a murder. You have a crime. This was the first one. I guess there wasn't a crime that they were
The
investigating.
crime was Jim not killing the penguin.
That's right. So each episode was kind of crime based, but this one was him. Trying
Right.
to survive. Right.
And this one, we've said it before on this show. I felt like this episode was more of a Bruce Wayne episode. I feel like this episode was more
Right.
of a, Bullock episode, obviously. This one was a Gordon episode.
Absolutely.
Through and through, with a little bit of Barbara in there and some Bullock and everything else. But, man. And, of course, every episode's a Penguin episode.
Yeah.
Every episode. Yeah.
Totally.
So we got introduced to a new villain from the comics, from the Rogues Gallery, Victor Zsasz. What'd you guys think of this actor's performance of him?
The Mist
The Mist.
from Flash.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If anybody's watching Flash out there. Right.
Of course.
Same guy, right?
I don't.
It is the same guy.
Looks like the same guy.
It is the same guy.
Okay. Then it's the same guy.
It is the same guy.
Okay. What would you think about this?
Good for that guy.
And we've
Residuals.
established
right?
that it's the same guy.
So
Tune in
obviously
next
it's
week.
not in the same universe. But
Well,
anyway,
yeah, obviously.
yeah. No, this was we saw previews of this for a while now with him on top of the
My name is Victor Zsasz.
on top of the
Good for
police
you, buddy.
desk
Desk.
and yelling out for Gordon. Interesting look for this Zsasz. He's always been kind of bald. He's always been bald as far as the incarnations. We looked up his first appearance, and I already forgot again.
Shadow of the Bat.
Shadow of the Bat.
Number one.
1992.
1992. I just repeat what he says.
Yeah, very good.
$2 on eBay.
Hey,
Grab them now.
all day.
All day.
All day.
He's got several of them already.
Yeah.
Live action.
Hey, no more ad-libbing from Charles.
But it's good to see the he's never been this cleaned up. He's never, at least what I've known about him, he's never really worked for somebody. He's always kind of on his own. He's just a serial killer, kind
Yeah.
of thing. It was cool to see him do the mark. They had to unfortunately they had to cast some one show cop.
Hey, the only good cop besides Gordon.
I know,
She was
right?
like, what's going on? Nah, she would have left if she was in.
she's
She
gone.
Yeah,
would've
she wasn't
left.
obviously in the room.
She just didn't know. Like,
She was
you
grabbing a
pumped-
donut, man. She was,
Oh, am I late for the walkout?
I love the look of the Batman Begins, Victor Zsasz.
Mhm.
That was kind of the one that's been always portrayed kind of in the comic books, So this one was a little different, but very cool take. I think we're obviously going to get a lot more of him. I think he's going to be pretty staple villain for Falcone.
So we saw his 28th kill.
Yeah.
What do you think about? Going forward, how much skin is this guy gonna have? Do we know what kind of count he's on in the comics currently?
Oh, it's a ton.
Lot more.
There's been
marks.
books. Yeah, there's been where he's got it all over his body.
Yeah, he's under his legs now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's all over. I guess. I don't know. That's just terrible.
He's gonna have
Why
to
would
get
anyone do
a
that?
servant just so he can mark 503. I ran out of space.
right.
Well, I think with him though, it was nice to see that they're continuing that the villains of Gotham are merciless. I mean,
Yeah.
he just capped that lady twice in the legs, and then she's just begging for her life, and he's like, and
One in
then
the
he
chest.
starts marking her off. And the fact that he takes a box cutter, that just there's something about blades in the Batman Rogues Galleries.
Right.
It's always fascinating to me.
Blades and
'cause,
knives.
Yeah, they always seem to have something sharp. But I don't know.
So how shocked were you guys when Gordon actually gets shot? Not once, but twice. I was kind of like, oh, most people can't really bounce back from getting shot twice. And then he, like I said in the intro, he takes a 2-hour nap and he's a little help walking, but he's pretty much fine. Were you guys shocked by this?
I thought when he first got hit, I thought he had a vest on. Maybe he was going to say he had a vest on, but he obviously was bleeding, and whenever the blood's like on the side or something like that, it's like, it's not going to be that bad.
Gut wound,
Yeah.
flesh wound.
It's a flesh wound. Then he gets shot in the leg, I guess. Is that?
It was in the.
I think the second shot was in the leg.
I guess he did. Yeah. They're obviously not trying to kill him.
So yeah.
Just
Everybody, if everybody doesn't know, we just real quick, we had done a film before where I actually talked to a detective to get some research on, and I remember the first thing he told me was, every time you see someone get shot in the movies, like they would die in real life.
Right.
There's no way.
Right.
He should have technically died, but they explain, he doesn't get no major arteries or organs were hit, so a bullet went through. Well, actually, I think she had to take the bullets out, but
Right,
which is
that's
usually
what
pretty
she said.
bad. But
Yeah.
but no, a little far fetched, but it's Jim Gordon, man.
He had a little limp,
A little bit.
Yeah.
He limped a little bit.
like a pimp limp.
Pimp.
A little
It's
bit.
got the Cobblepot shuffle
Yeah,
happening now.
walk a little
but
side.
once he got to Falcone's, it didn't even look like he got shot.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I walked it off.
I'm waiting for a Monty Python line of just, it's a flash wound.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had worse. Yeah. Only one Bruce Wayne scene, because again, this was a pretty Jim-centric episode. But
The best.
It made me tear up a little bit.
yeah, it was like
That was a good shot. That was good.
Well, and before we get to that though, we need to talk about the two major crimes cops too, because they came to the rescue.
They did. They rolled up. They saved him. They said, "You need a ride," and he said, "No, I'm fine. I'm just hanging out here. I'll get the next one. You guys go ahead." Yeah, I need a ride. That's what he should have said. That would have been great.
Did you think it was a little over the top though with the music?
Nah.
Because they changed it to this triumphant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know
to me it was like, oh,
No,
just you don't need music right there. They don't do it in Law and Order. Just
that's Law and Order.
I know. I'm just saying.
Anyway, yeah. So he does get saved by the two people who've been trying to put him away.
Right.
But also, like I said, they can admit when they're wrong. And let me ask you this: speaking of Montoya and Allen, if they were in the precinct when Zaz came in, they wouldn't have walked out.
I think
No.
they're dead though.
You think they would have been dead?
I think he would have killed both of them.
You think they would have pulled on him and gotten
Oh, there would
shot?
have been a lot more of a gunfight. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Because we got to remember, there's two other hench people,
Right.
hench women,
Mhm.
with Zaz there. So you got 3 guns, and they don't care. They gotta kill whatever they got to kill, and if those folks come in, they'll kill them too. And I just don't know if they're skilled to get away like Jim is, because he can survive many a wound.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
He's the healing ability is Barry Allen. So
And then also Alfred, strong arming
Yeah.
a detective,
Well,
a cop.
wasn't he a military man back in the day, though?
I guess that's the one that they're portraying, right?
Yeah, because he was what's the British?
MI6.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's never been said in the show, though, has it?
Not on the show, for not yet.
Yeah.
At least. He's and he's not. I don't think he is in the. I don't think he's in the current comic book. I don't know if he is.
it's Batman Year One.
Year One.
That's where they talk about that.
Also in Earth 2. Or, I'm sorry, Earth 1.
Oh, that's Earth One. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Earth 1.
not
is
Year
what you're
One.
talking about.
Earth
yeah,
One.
Earth 1, he's a military background.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the new DCU is portraying him as a former military as well.
So
The,
that's- yeah,
Jeremy Irons says.
Obviously, that
Alfred.
incarnation of Alfred that we're dealing with in the
I
in the
think
show.
so. I think
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
As illustrated in next week's.
Right, which we'll have to talk about next week.
Right.
But I do
Maybe
wanna-
a little bit at the end of the.
Maybe
this
a
show.
little bit at the end, guys. Maybe we'll get to it. I don't know. Yeah. Anything to say on the big hug? The hug heard round the manor.
You're still misty-eyed.
I'm a little bit.
It was. It reminded me a lot of the coat scene in Batman Begins, just that connection between the two characters.
Yeah.
Just that he really cares about him, and Bruce cares about Jim, and that's just it was nice to have witnesses to that. Having the major crimes cops that just again personifies how Jim is going to be perceived as the leader of that bunch now, because I think there's gonna be a lot of equity in what's coming or what has happened with that scene, of him standing up to Zaz and standing up to Falcone, and Bullock's siding with him, and now the cops that have been trying to persecute him see the kid that's an orphan now. He's hugging Jim Gordon as a father figure. That has to say to them that this man's a good man, and if they want to change Gotham, it's going to go through him.
Everyone's Team Gordon. Everyone's Team Gordon now.
We should make shirts.
We will. I already on it.
Are you really?
I am now.
I would.
My phone over here.
Should we? Yeah.
Team Gordon. Yeah.
1995.
No, I think it was. No, it was. I didn't expect. I expected a close up of a handshake, a really good handshake. That kind of caught me when he leaped into his.
He's like,
Yeah.
Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers gotta
Yeah, exactly.
hug.
But it was very good because even Gordon had that surprised look on his face, and it was weird because at first, I mean, Bruce got pretty upset, because he don't treat me like a child, but he was saying you are a child, so there's still that dynamic there of Gordon thinking of him as still an orphan, I guess, and Bruce trying to do more. Because I don't know, I guess Gordon probably doesn't know about all of this detective work that he's been doing, trying to figure stuff out. He doesn't know about that kind of stuff. So
right.
he may just think he's just kind of sitting back trying to, just.
Unless he saw
cope
the
with it.
board, he's like, "Oh, nice bulletin board with string and wire to pictures and what's going
Yeah.
on here?" Probably didn't. He'd probably hide that one.
But it's weird, isn't it weird that, when they show up, it's like, yeah, bring them up to the room that we always.
Yeah,
let's go up to that room
let's
with the
go
fire
to
on
the
it.
study. That's obviously the nicest room in the house.
Yeah.
Every other room is drafty.
I think everybody makes fun of that online. Is like, are we ever going to see another room in Wayne Manor? I mean,
Look, Alfred's a busy man. It's
Yeah.
really hard to clean that whole flipping mansion.
Right.
Give the man a break.
What else does he got to do?
Exactly.
He's raising a kid.
Oh,
I can barely take care of myself to see my place.
Yeah.
the kid stays in one room.
That's
he doesn't
right.
even eat. He sleeps on the couch in
Yeah.
there. Doesn't lock the door.
Yeah.
Catwoman's gonna catnap him.
Yeah, she's probably staying in the guest room.
Catnape him.
They don't even know.
She's like, guys, I'm here too.
Yeah.
This is really touching. Can
I see her eating all your
three-way
food.
hug?
I'm not eating it.
Why are you leaving your bowls on the floor? Like
Yeah.
it's a flea collar. The
You just ran with that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
just ran that into the ground.
One joke too many.
Penguin, which we can now really call Penguin because everyone's calling him. Everyone's
Yeah.
doing it. Team Penguin T-shirts.
Penguin's umbrella.
1995. What?
Copyright.
Penguin's umbrella. That's right. He really stepped up, and they ended up taking out Nikolai. Correct. That's the guy
Yep.
in Falcone's camp, and then I don't know the henchman who turns on Penguin. I forgot his name, but he's basically wanting to take him out because he thinks he's pulling the wool over Maroni's eyes, and I think he just doesn't like the competition really. He's kind of getting a little jealous. But then he pays off the other two henchmen more and gives it to him. And he says something very interesting. There's nothing. No, that's not right. He says, "When you know what a man loves, you know how to kill him," basically. And he loved money.
Right.
And then he just almost slowly stabs him. Just like, I'm going to put this right here now.
Did he say something like "love conquers all" or something
Yeah,
like that?
later on he says love conquers all. I think that's when he's like kissing his head.
Yeah.
So let's dissect that scene. We all know Penguin's not quite right, but what exactly is going on in this scene? What were your all's thoughts about it?
I definitely, I don't know if you, I saw it coming as soon as the guy started turning on him a little bit, because obviously there's no way nothing's gonna happen. Like you said earlier, nothing's gonna happen to Penguin. So I kind of saw it coming, and I thought, once he started talking about money, I was like, he had to pay those other guys, man. Somehow he had to pay those guys to turn on him. So it's the start. I wonder. The question is what did he tell Maroni that happened? Is he saying that Mooney's guys killed or that guy, the other guys killed him,
I would
or
assume, yeah.
Is he keeping those guys? Is he paying them to keep them quiet? So eventually it can happen to Maroni. That's kind of the question. The only question I have is, what is he keeping it close to the chest and just saying he mistakenly got killed? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, from a power play end, you definitely want to say Nikolai stabbed the Maroni henchman.
Right.
Yeah.
And do it that way, because now Maroni's going to say, I've got to go after Fish, because they'll learn of the connection between those two having that relationship and everything. But I think, too, there was a power play by Penguin, because he easily could have just shot him. Just cap him in the head. He would have never known what was coming. But instead, being able to kill him in front of the two henchmen, and those two thieves are going to talk amongst themselves, but probably also talk inside of their own community, and the lore of the Penguin will start to build, because he just took down the second most powerful crime boss in that group, and took him down easily, just a few bucks and 2 knife shots.
Yeah.
And that's where this is really getting to be interesting. Is I'm wondering near the end of the season if Penguin will either still be with Maroni or if he'll be his own crime boss, because they're escalating his character so quickly. I mean, he's gone from being yelled at and beaten up by Fish to being nearly killed by Gordon to killing those 2 college kids and making it back to Gotham, to now he's gone from dishwasher to third guy to second guy in a matter of 7 episodes.
Yeah.
They're progressing him so quickly, there's got to be a big payoff coming.
So let me ask you guys this, because since Nikolai was killed, and we do know that Fish and he were banging, do you think he was just another piece of gym equipment, exercise equipment, or she was playing him obviously just to get at Falcone, but so you don't think she had she was bummed when she found out that he got killed, or how do you think she took it?
I think she's going to take it really hard, because if you remember how she cried when Falcone beat the hell out of her boy toy in the bar.
I think she was more mad crying.
It seemed like she was really torn up. I don't know. I mean, they've been having this relationship for a while, I think.
But then she said to get rid of him. We're talking about the bartender guy.
Well, she said after he was beaten up and probably no good to her to fool around, because every part of his body was bruised. So,
right.
I don't know. I mean,
Dave, you have any opinion on that?
Yeah, I don't think she's. I think she enjoys their company and stuff like that, but I don't think she's tied to him at all. I mean, she was using him to help get Falcone out.
So you think she's upset? Do you think this runs a plan that she had?
Well, I think I just think it goes back to what she said to Nikolai was he knows something. I mean, she's like, he's acting weird. He knows something, which we find out later he does. But
Yeah.
but I think she figured it out, and I think this is kind of a result of kind of knowing something about what Falcone may know.
Mhm.
So I don't, she'll move on.
She'll move on.
Get the next guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What about Butch? Maybe Butch.
Butch?
Maybe Butch has a chance now.
We saw some interesting things from Gilzine in this episode.
Yeah.
He really turned on the freaky and kind of the scary
Mm-hmm.
in this one. But I want to talk about Bullock now because he's always kind of had the weird one-liners. He had a lot in this episode, such as, would you do, sit down with a panel of chimpanzees and a bucket of crack to figure that one out? I'm paraphrasing. I think that's what it was. He asks at Falcone's, do we get a last meal or smoke or anything, or just talk? Do you think he's going a little overboard with some of these little one-liners and zingers? Do you think it's affecting the show at all?
Well, it could be when you're very uncomfortable a lot of times, especially with situations that you're not in. People try to make jokes just to kind of let the moment breathe a little bit.
Defense mechanism?
Yeah. Maybe that's what this is, because he is getting pushed past his comfort zone.
Sure.
This isn't what he's accustomed to. I mean, he's basically the guy that puts his nose down, does the status quo, turns the other cheek, looks the other way, all those things. And, now he's kind of being pushed. And this could be something that this is his way of just being like, hey, I gotta cope with this. And the only way I can is to make it funny, because I don't know what else to do, because the next second I could get killed. I might as well just laugh about it, and hopefully, maybe he's the Joker. Okay. No, but that's what I'm thinking this is. I don't think it's anything about them trying to make him comic relief, because if they did that, I think it'd be a waste of a good character.
Yeah. We obviously know that he grows. His character is growing and has already had an arc of sorts and so forth. He did bring a prostitute over to Jim's house to bang her, though. That's Harvey Bullock right there.
Yeah.
Marco.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. That was pretty weird.
Yeah.
Even Jim was
And obviously Gordon didn't do anything about it. I guess he's like, okay, you're here. That's
I'm just
cool.
glad you're here.
Do whatever you want.
Just glad you're here.
Yeah.
Right. Now let's, for the next half hour, talk about the significance of Funky Town being the ringtone on Zaz's phone. 'Cause I think it means
so
something.
good.
What do you guys think?
I think it means something.
Let's talk about this.
He likes good music.
Uh,
I thought it was great.
I think the
What's the significance in the comics of Funky Town?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I think that was a nice.
I think the music license was just cheap for that song, so they
Maybe we
bought
get
it.
Funky Town.
That's probably a really good point.
That's really.
Let's have a serial killer have Funky Town as his ringtone.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that's another part of his character too, is that you saw how he was very polite. Please leave. But he's a stone cold killer.
Mm.
But yet he has a other side
It's a
where
playful side.
yeah. I liked it. I thought it was a very nice moment, just because
Yeah.
you're like, what the? Oh, that's just wow.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, indeed. We have a couple of viewer questions, which are on the old tweet machine here in my pocket.
Tweet machine.
So I'm going
They're
to.
only a device.
Yeah, if only there was a device where people could contact us and ask us questions. Oh wait, there is. Here it is. Couple. We're going to do a couple here. One is from our super fan, our good friend King Darkheart Russell Berger. He says at Gotham After Show. That's us. By the way, follow us on Twitter at Gotham After Show.
Yeah.
And everything else. I'll tell you what. Also, what you need to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/21network. That is 21 spelled out. 21 Network. It's the network that we're a part of. Subscribe so you get all these just alerts. Like, hey, there's a new episode. And there's other stuff like Star Wars TCG in the comics, all that good stuff. Anyway, Russell asks, knowing that Penguin, and I assume it's safe to call him that now, I agree, it is playing everyone but Falcone, is it safe to say that he's playing him too? I mean, he's a master manipulator. He's obviously playing chess while the others are just playing checkers, which Charles brought up. Hey, checkers, there's a lot of strategery in that too. But the crux of the question is he also playing Falcone?
I don't know if he's. I don't know. I thought about that. I don't know if he's actually playing Falcone, because if you kind of remember from the pilot, I think this whole thing has been about taking over Fish Mooney's position. Which, where is she? She's kind of next in line after Falcone. So I think it's always just been a matter of getting her out of the way and becoming Falcone's right hand man. Because I don't know if I don't know if right at this moment he has aspirations to be the man, the crime boss. I don't know if that's there yet, but I do think it, like I said, it goes back to the beginning where he's been snitching to kind of get Mooney out of the way so he can step in and be that person. And now this was his opportunity.
Snitches get stitches.
Okay.
They do.
Cool.
Charles?
I think he's definitely playing him. Because of all the dynamics that he's done so far, as through the character development that they've established on the show, he knows everyone's weakness. He said that in that little soliloquy before he killed the henchman. So he's great at identifying weaknesses. He knows what Falcone's is. It's just not been revealed to us. And maybe it's gardening, or maybe it's
Chickens.
the chickens. What the hell is the chickens all? But he's this.
He likes his eggs fresh, man.
I guess.
But he seems like he wants that life out in the country, but he also wants to be the big time crime boss.
And why is he not tapping that with Liza?
But he's a gentleman too.
I think he knows.
I think she reminds him of his mom, and that would be creepy for him.
That's true, but I think he knows.
That's right.
I think it's too, at least in my mind, I think it's too obvious that this woman all of a sudden is listening to this opera thing, and I think he knows. I think he's playing that side a little bit. That he's letting her kind of do her thing and just report basically nothing. She's not giving him anything.
I clean.
Yeah. So I think he knows that. He ain't dumb.
I think as far as Cobblepot goes, he is just wanting to get to the Fish Mooney level, but as soon as he does, he's going to outgrow that real quick and be like, you know what? I need to be number one. I need to be.
Well, and a lot of people have probably forgotten that he's sitting on probably $500,000 because he took the money bag after he killed the four guys with the treats that he put the drugs in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got money.
So he's not hurting.
True.
Yeah, I just don't. I'd be surprised if he's very, 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 very high up this season.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think it'll take a couple seasons.
Our second question comes from Trisha1972. She says, at Gotham After Show, do you think we'll get a more in-depth origin story of Zsasz? He started his tallying earlier than originally written.
I don't know. I don't think we'll get a backstory. Being not one of the villains, marketed in the beginning of the show, like, like Riddler and Penguin, and what's weird is that we haven't had Ivy at all. I don't know if
besides the pilot.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to come back. I'm assuming it's going to come back eventually, or Catwoman. But no, I think we may get a brief comment on some of the people he's killed or something like that. But I don't think there's going to be a backstory. Really,
I don't think you need one.
Yeah.
When you consider what they had him do in that moment of establishing his character on the show, and showing that he's got a knife cutter or a box cutter, and he's cutting himself for the 28th time. That alone is enough to tell me that this guy is absolutely ruthless. And I don't know if a backstory is needed because it may actually take away from that. Holy crap, this guy's crazy. But if you see how he maybe possibly turned crazy, I don't know if it would have that same validity like it did on
Yeah.
that shock value last night.
I think one of his first backstories in the comic books was that his parents got killed in an accident, and he went into like this major state of depression, and got basically crazy, and just out of therapy, it kind of eases his soul by killing these people.
So really, he's just a cutter that needs an excuse to cut.
Pretty much. That was one
Wow.
version. So again, I don't think maybe that's mentioned, or something like that. But I don't think we'll go. There won't be like an episode devoted to that at all.
Okay.
So
And unless it goes 10 seasons, you never know. They
Yeah,
may throw an
maybe.
episode in.
right.
But there's so many other characters that they could go in and delve into. He's
Right.
kind of that tertiary character in the Batman universe.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
We're about out of time, but we haven't really talked about the twist.
twist.
The twist. The end
twist.
scene. New music, it seems like, for Penguin when he's walking up. He's got the umbrella. We think, is he taking out Falcone?
Mhm.
But then we get this flashback with everything's been planned out. And I really don't think it was Penguin's idea for it to work out that way. I'm
Well,
sure he hatched it in the moment when he
Totally.
met Falcone, but
But he took a major gamble that Gordon actually wasn't going to shoot him.
Right. So real quick, because we are almost out of time here, thoughts on this twist?
On the twist, it goes back to what he said at the warehouse. He can identify people's weaknesses. He knew that Jim Gordon could not turn bad.
Yeah, that's true.
So he didn't have to worry about losing his life to Gordon. As long as he can make that puppet string move, everything else would go into motion. Because money and greed and everything in Gotham is what dictates lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to make all the other strings move on that marionette.
And then the other weakness you're talking about too is he got to Falcone by saying, "I have a secret."
Right.
Falcone doesn't like secrets, so he got him to go along with it by telling him the big secret he knew, which was Mooney wanted him out. So yeah, very well played, very very well played, and I did not see that coming.
Right.
So fantastic twist.
And it's good you said that about Falcone, because that goes back to what I was mentioning earlier with he's this gentleman in the world of the crime lords where he appreciates someone telling him the truth,
Right.
and you are rewarded for that with
Yeah,
his
Gordon.
life. He got a choice. It's like, you're going to roll the dice here, and if he doesn't kill you, then you're good.
Yeah.
And that, it just,
But he said that to Gordon too, when Gordon believed him
yeah.
at the end too. He was like, I'm glad you put trust in me, so I'm going to let you live. So he's a gentleman,
It's true.
gentleman crime boss.
Right.
And that's why I think he hasn't touched the young lady.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
going to wait for her to make the first move, and Mooney's going to be on her about that. If she doesn't move soon, because Mooney wants to take him down now, because she will be upset.
She will.
She will be.
There will be blood.
And all I'll say is, how dumb is Barbara? That was dumb.
Just
That was dumb.
Yeah.
Just
I understand.
Just go back to not wearing pants most of the time.
Absolutely.
She doesn't. No pants, Barbara.
I guess so.
Pay
For the
attention
first
to
few
the
episodes.
earlier
Yeah,
episodes.
she
Never
was-
wearing pants.
Yeah, never.
But, oh, yeah.
Anyway, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you, Charles, for filling in for Corey. Thank you,
It was
Dave,
fun.
for being Dave. Dave is at dcottingham21 on Twitter. He is at
Big
Big
Blue
Blue 8. I know.
I'm
At
glad
Big
you
Blue
remember.
8 on Twitter. Listen to Charles occasionally on the Pod Gravy podcast. And is it too early to talk about Toy Chuck?
It's coming.
Okay.
So the domains are bought, and
Toy Chuck.
and it's coming.
Coming soon for all
Is it going to be a
collectible
podcast
needs.
too?
Oh, no. Just a toy website for now that you can buy all sorts of wonderful collectibles.
Chuck's been on the podcast a few times too, actually.
right.
So
That's right.
But
A
yeah, shoot me a
friend of
message.
the network.
Yeah, shoot me a message anytime. I'd love to talk about anything. It's comic books or action figures.
All
whatever.
day.
So,
All day.
All day.
All day.
80.
Oh, we've got a new contest coming up soon. We have
Yes.
a winner for our last one. We will actually announce that next time because I forgot to write it down. But we're going to be launching another one, and it's going to be even bigger and even better. Maybe a few overlapping, like year-long ones. I haven't talked to you about this yet. We got things, though. We got balls in the air. We got balls. So, until next time, you stay frosty.